You like it?
So is that playing now?
It's playing now. We're about to talk over it, okay? You like it?
Okay.
You feel it? Are you dancing? Are you moving? Everybody say yeah, yeah. Okay. Here we go. All right. Project Access to Africa family, we are inside of our African dance party, and you're in tune, as we said, to Project Access to Africa. Good afternoon to Alabama, good afternoon to New York City, everybody in Florida, Marley family, I see you online, I hope you all are listening. North Carolina, good afternoon. We are now joined by another special guest, and we're going to be talking with Ms. Iris Wilson. For those of you who've been listening to the show, we've been given reports about a very beautiful play that's been traveling all over the world, and it's none other than Fela on Broadway. So one of the dancers, one of the wives of Fela, Anikulapo Kuti, is on the line right now. Sister Wilson, are you there?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Everyone say yeah, yeah. All right, beautiful. So we want to talk a little bit about what you're doing and what has been happening over the last few years. First of all, where are you calling from right now?
Calling from Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy.
All right, you're in the hood, Brooklyn in the house. Welcome to the city of Buffalo. We also call this Africa Town because we got some heavy powers rolling right now inside of our city, and we're gonna do what we can to bring you over here because there's a lot of people who want to see you. But first of all, we want to let the world know what kind of work you're doing right now, and what are you doing in New York City for the next probably, what is it, 20 days you got left of this big activity?
Yeah, with the next 20 days, I will be performing at the Al Hirschfeld Theater on 45th in Manhattan on Broadway with the performance Fela. That's what I'm doing for the next 20 days. We're there until August 4th.
All right, so Fela, how long have you been working with this particular project yourself?
I've been with the production for about 5 years. I started when it was just like a seed of an idea, and I watched this thing grow and grow into this beautiful journey that we're on now. So I've been with it for, at least 5 years.
All right, so, wow. So coming in, watching it grow, kind of nurturing it yourself, you have not only spent time in New York City. Can you let us know where else you have been, and where has this play taken you?
Yeah, it's taken me all over. So we started on Broadway in 2009. We did a year and a half there. For those of you who saw it, we had Patti LaBelle, who joined the cast.
I saw that show.
She played Fela's mother, Fumilayo. After we closed on Broadway, we went to Nigeria in April for about a month to Lagos, where Fela is actually from, and we did the performance there. Then we went to Plymouth, England, Amsterdam, London, England, and we toured Canada and the United States, Atlanta, Chicago, D.C., Minnesota, Texas, just like every place, Detroit. Great cities throughout the United States, California, San Francisco, LA, all over.
All right, so now you're black in New York again, and yeah, you're black in New York again. So how does it feel to be back home on your home stomping ground, and the people receiving you again?
It feels great, and Broadway is a great experience. It's my childhood dream, so I'm reliving that again a second time with this show. And the first day we got back, we opened up, and the audience just gave us such a warm welcome. Like the applause when we walked out on the stage was just like, welcome back, Fela.
Well, I think it was great because it was a great birthday present for me too. I was there, and that's where we kind of made the link. And we're going to move right now into some of the things that you yourself are doing. First of all, could you give us the name of the theater one more time and let us know again how long Fela on Broadway will be available for everyone to see?
Yeah, well, Fela on Broadway will be available only until August 4th. So if you have not seen it, please come out and see it. August 4th, that's it.
All right. Now we want to get a little bit into some of the things that you've done. You're a beautiful artist. You're a very strong dancer and a very captivating stage presence. But you're welcome. But one of the things that that really kind of touched my ear are some of the histories that we talked about during this show. First of all, for those who don't know, well, not really the people, I guess, on my show, because we play it all the time, but give us a general historiography of who you would introduce Fela as.
Fela is, well, he's, of course, he's an African icon. He's a musician, but he's more than a musician. I'll put it in the words of the Nigerian people. Fela is their savior. That's what they told me when I visited Lagos. He's like, Fela, they would say, Fela is our savior. He was our king. He was a revolutionary. He was about change for the people. So that's who Fela was in a nutshell.
All right, and it becomes interesting because I don't know if you heard the show a little earlier, but what took place is we were just talking today about some of the religious wars that take place in Africa, religious fighting that takes place, and when Fela was making his music and talking, the people understood what he was saying, but many people were kind of apprehensive because he spoke directly at the politicians. He spoke directly at the leaders, even the local leaders at those times. Many of them actually became the president, from Olusegun to Obasanjo. The people that he mentioned in his songs in the 70s actually became leaders. But his critical analysis of how they were governing, what the religious people were doing in the name of religion to divide the people, he came back with a very highly critical and Pan-African way of looking at things. That Pan-African way of seeing things had a whole lot of history in America and because of Black America. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit and what happened there? That's one of the things that really kind of alerted me to how much your eyes were open. You know, can you tell us about that?
I would just like to say I'm one of the few African Americans in the cast, and I'm very proud of that because I'm very proud of my people and what we have done. We have paved the way for so many people of different ethnic backgrounds, not just African, different ethnic backgrounds, to come to America for opportunity. Fela is one of them. He came here to America in 1966. He met this woman, Sandra Isadora, who turned him on to the Black Panther Party, who she was following at the time. And she opened his eyes to so many leaders that were in America, like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael. She opened his eyes to what Nina Simone was doing, using her music as social commentary, or like Nikki Giovanni, who used her poetry as social commentary. Fela, before he came to America, he was doing what you call feel-good music, highlights music, music that just makes you feel good and dance, but really not necessarily having a meaning behind it. Once he saw what was going down with Black America, the civil rights movement, and how artists were using their artwork as social commentary, he was like, yes, that's what music is about. It's about change. And how can I take this music back to Nigeria and change the corruption and speak out against the ill treatment of the people through my music? And he said music is the weapon. But he got these ideas and these beliefs from African American people, like so many other people. Bob Marley, I mean, the list can go on and on. We have influenced the world, I think. In fact, I know we have influenced the world to go on and make changes in their own, in these other African countries and these other pockets of the world where you have oppression of African people. We influence that to make the change.
I think that becomes interesting because at a time in our history, many times we do not realize how bright our lights are here unless we experience them from outside of American eyes. We always on this show talk about our people getting passports, especially for young children, so that they can travel and see the world and also see the perspective of our people outside of America. The other thing that becomes important is that I believe that we have to see ourselves in positions besides 106 and Park and rapping and breakdancing only on the corners and ourselves as leaders. Our arts, our history, our culture, learning about ourselves, the whole aspect of dance in itself. What do you see now as some of the most important things that we can do to reinstill in our young people pride in history, culture, and not just African American, but even the Pan-African culture? Because once we're opened up to it, we realize this whole family agenda that takes place with the African world. Can you kind of talk on that a little?
Yeah, well, me as an artist and a teacher, I love children, and our young people, they are the future, and they are the ones who's going to make change in the world. We have to give them the tools to make those changes. For me, as an artist, I tend to use art as a vehicle to provide these young people with the tools to move forward. So I said earlier, like Fela said, music is a weapon. So I challenge the young people today to find their weapon to make change in the world, whatever that may be. Is it your voice, through your writing, through singing, through dancing, through visual arts, whatever it may be? Find your weapon to go out and make change. But of course, we, as the adults, we have to provide them with the tools and go out there and teach them and push them in that direction.
I think you must have been listening to the show, because you're repeating it's the exact same reason that we just had with the elder brothers here. One of them is an elder from Jamaica who's working with soccer and life coaching. There's another brother who's working with empowering parents and the general public to take control and harness our schools and our communities to represent what we need to build ourselves. What is important right now, I think also with this arts aspect, is that inside of art, it allows our people to see themselves in different lights. One of the things that I want to talk about also is you've put together a book, and that book is entitled Boys Dance Too.
Prior to me going on Broadway, I was a dance teacher for 6 years in the New York City Public School. It was a K-8 school. I taught dance, and it was a performing arts school. And I had a lot of parents apprehensive about putting their young boys in the dance program because of the stereotypes that are put on male dancers. There was a lot of homophobia and so forth, and I had to let these children know, because I saw the little boys, they wanted to dance, and they were just regular little boys, but they loved to dance. They loved what I had to offer. So I said, I need to put a book out, because I do write, and I write for children, and so I need to put a book out that says Boys Dance Too, and that's going to be the title. So I got together with a photographer friend of mine. We got all these different boys from every different background, and we did a photo shoot of boys dancing in different environments. We did it in Brooklyn. We went into the dance studios. We had them in the subway. We had them outside in Prospect Park, just all over, and they were dancing, and I wrote the text, and yeah, it's about encouraging young boys that it's okay to dance. So that's my book. That's my children's book. I'm also working on another children's book about the life of Fela, called Fela, Let Music Be the Weapon. And again, that it basically introduces young people to Fela and who he was. And again, that whole concept of finding your weapon, music was Fela's weapon. What is yours to make change?
All right. Well, I'm gonna give you a little proposal over the air, and you probably can't say no because everyone's listening. But Buffalo, I know you're in New York City, but Buffalo has one of the greatest Kwanzas in the world. We have all 6 of our days with the public are jam-packed tight, and we have much of our community returning to the city of Buffalo just to be at the Kwanzaa events. I want to invite you here to do some work with our dancers, our professional dancers here, as well as some of the children who will be off from school. I believe that it becomes important for us to have access to our superheroes, and you definitely seem to be one. I mean, a person who's working on Broadway, traveling the world, but also utilizing your art and your own inspiration to pave your way in life. I believe that our children need to see how to stay disciplined, how to stay focused, and how your talent and your gifts can make room for you all around the world. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would love to come out there. I don't know if y'all have the best Kwanzaa in the world,
Well, you have to be here to see it now. Everybody in this room is from the Kwanzaa committee. I don't know how many people you have in your room, but we got real Buffalo soldiers here, so that waits to be seen.
No shade, Buffalo, but no, I'm totally down to come out there and do some workshops. Anything for the children, for my people, definitely.
All right.
For Kwanzaa, I was in middle school and I was in a program called Upward Bound, and we were introduced to this concept of Kwanzaa, and then I took it home and told my family, and since then we've been celebrating it every year. My family, that's what we do.
That's beautiful. We're one of the cities that are blessed where every year Dr. Malana Karenga comes here, because this is one of the first cities that had him coming from early in time before Kwanzaa was talked about in public, and he makes a special commitment to be in the city of Buffalo at least one day every year. So we want to make sure that we seal up that. But here's another aspect that we want to just kind of open up. You also had a chance to put out a CD. You worked with the group that put together the CD, Fela, the original Broadway cast recording. Your art, your singing, your dancing. What does that do for your person in keeping and maintaining a balance, being able to rely on art and culture? How does that influence your life, or how does that build your life?
Totally elevates me, because that's what I am. Art is my life. It empowers me. It elevates me. I even look at it as a spiritual aspect as well. The arts. When I dance, I'm connecting, especially when I'm just African dance, I feel a connection to my African ancestry. By the way, can I share that I did find out my African lineage?
Yeah, well, tell us how that took place, because and maybe we can talk about the website. We actually saw that if you look up Fela on Broadway, you can take a look at Iris Wilson. And can you let us know what happened while you were on the trip in Africa, and what took place?
Okay, well, actually, with the African lineage, what happened, we have the Africa Channel. I don't know if you have it in Buffalo, but we have this thing called the Africa Channel, and they've been following Fela very closely. So they selected myself and one other male from the cast, and they asked, they took our DNA samples to trace our lineage back to our country of origin in Africa. And we did it through our maternal line. So my mother is from South Carolina. And I know historically, I know that there were a lot of Sierra Leoneans dropped in North Carolina. However, they found my people from Cameroon. And I am of the Tika people of Cameroon. And so apparently what I started to find out after meeting different people who traced their heritage back to Cameroon, that their mothers were also from South Carolina. So apparently a bunch of Cameroonians were dropped off on a slave ship in South Carolina.
I think that is very interesting. That's beautiful. We have some family here from Cameroon, Yaoundé area, and all of those places. I think that it makes it very interesting when you get a chance to travel back to Africa. Can you tell us what that trip was like for you, and how was it? You learned Fela, you got a chance to perform and help tell his story. What was it like being in Africa performing, and what was it like just stepping foot on the soil? Can you just talk a little bit about that?
It's a dream come true also. I always wanted to go to Africa since I was a little girl, because I always knew of the concept that African American people came from Africa. So I was very much into African heritage from a child, 7 years old, taking African dance class. So how many years later, at 30-something years old, I stepped foot on the African soil, and I'm like, wow, this is a dream come true. So all of my dreams are coming true. I'm on Broadway, and now I'm in Africa. Yeah, Nigeria, I didn't think that was the first place I wanted to go. I had some other countries in mind, but it didn't matter. At that point, I stepped foot out there, and I was like, wow, I'm home. And we all started to cry, the entire cast. We met many Nigerian people, of course. We had press conferences around the show. Of course, they asked us why weren't there any Nigerians in the show, and how were African American people going to portray such a story. And it really just came out that although this story took place in Nigeria, it's not just a Nigerian story. This is a human story. And it's about the human condition, and it can take place anywhere in the world. And we just happen to be African American people telling this story of Fela. And we also said we are of African descent. So at that time, I didn't know I was from Cameroon. So we said we could be from Nigeria for all we know. We don't know where we're from because we were stolen so many years ago. But at the end they said, welcome home. It was just like a really beautiful reunion, because what I'm finding, historically, Africans and African Americans, they had a bond back in the 60s, 70s, and then that bond seems to have gotten lost, and there seems to be some dissension between the African people and African Americans. But I think it's coming full circle now, and we're going back to that bonding. They said, welcome home, you are my sister.
It's just like a Sankofa, go back, fetch, and return it. Yeah, well, I think that it becomes important. We're going to have you on the show a few more times before you get here. And what I want to do is we're going to talk about arranging some of these classes and some of the workshops. Can you leave again what days and the name of the theater where the play is going to be performed on Broadway?
Well, Fela will be performed Monday through Saturday at the Al Hirschfeld Theater on 45th Street, 45th between 8th and 9th. We are here only until August 4th, so catch us when you can, but please catch us soon. August 4th, that's it for us.
Thank you very much. Hey, hold the line 1 second. We're going to take a quick commercial break. You people stay tuned. You're listening to Project Access to Africa, 1080 AM, WUFO.